This podcast contains strong language and adult situations. If that's not your thing, you've been warned.
Welcome to the Fuck My Work Life podcast.
I'm Kay.
And I'm Jay.
Have you ever had a bad day at work?
Well, in this podcast, we share your weird, wonderful, and sometimes horrific stories from the workplace.
Which may leave you thinking, maybe I don't have it so bad after all.
Maybe not. Let's do this.
Let's get into it.
Welcome back, fuckers.
Hi, fuckers. Welcome to the Fuck My Work Life podcast. We have our first time returning guests today with us. We have Josh and Adam from the Munch My Benson podcast.
Hey, guys.
Howdy.
Hello again. Thank you for joining us again.
Thanks for having us. I didn't realize we were the first.
Yeah.
The first returning
nice.
guest.
First returning guest.
Nice.
Glad to be back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to say that I think your episode from season 2 is like one of our most downloaded episodes. So the people love you.
At least someone's listening to us somewhere.
Yeah. It's true.
Is it you guys that said, oh, your mom listened to it or something?
Yeah, it was my mom. My mom only listened to our appearance on your podcast.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm 99% sure she's never listened to an episode that we were on. Or that, of ours. Sorry, of ours.
I can guarantee you that their podcast is a lot more relevant to your mom than ours is. So that's fair.
Yeah, I can't fathom a reality in which my mom has watched even one episode of SVU.
Yeah.
So for those who didn't hear the first time around, and that was Austin in a nutshell. So if you haven't heard that, go check it out after you listen to this one. But why don't you guys tell us about your podcast?
Yeah, so Josh and I do a podcast. It's called Munch My Benson, wherein we let a randomizer choose an episode of Law & Order SVU for us, and then we watch it and just go way over the top and overanalyzing it. We usually write like about a 5 to 10 minute long recap of the episode. Then Josh will do a breakdown of, he'll write like 4 pages about the various guest stars that appear in the episode. And then we go back and forth with notes. And I mean, we get on crazy tangents. We're talking about anything from the origins of the Albanian language to like bodega sandwiches on the Lower East Side, stuff like that. Like, if you want a really ridiculous show to take you to all around the world and back again, that's what we do. That's what we do. We try to have fun doing it. I think that can be debatable whether it's fun for anybody listening, but
I have fun
usually
listening.
It's fun for us.
So before we get into stuff, we drink because we work.
That's right.
Not me. I don't work, really.
I'm looking for work now. I don't want to be.
We drink
Kind of.
We drink because we breathe.
we like to drink.
We drink because we wake up.
Ain't that the truth?
I mean, you're a dad. That's a lot of work.
It sure is, and I need to work too. We just found out our landlord's jacking our rent $800.
What?
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
There's not a cap in New York?
No, no.
My God.
Not if you live in a market rate apartment.
Damn.
Which we do. Yeah, so yeah, we got to figure out how that's going to work, or we're going to have to move.
Jesus.
Either one of those is.
You're going to need to get a job where you can have Max in
Exactly.
in a baby Bjorn the whole day.
Dog walker.
Do you know how heavy that kid is now?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. God.
You just brought the whole fucking vibe of the episode down, man. Like, I feel so bad.
That sucks.
No,
It's
we're
super
gonna
fucked.
figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. Either way though, I'm enjoying this beer because
fuck your
God
life.
damn it. Yeah, exactly. Fuck my life.
And what beer are you
What
drinking?
beer do you got?
So this is a beer it's a 9.5% sour triple from Victory, and it came in a 15 pack, and I only drink these when I record podcasts because it's like too strong and too weird to actually like drink it fast. So I just nurse the thing over the whole episode. It's perfect.
Nice.
It's not bad. It's actually pretty drinkable.
And what do you got there, Josh?
Well, I've got this year's Jameson Rocks was 4 fingers. It's 3 now. And then this is a File Me Under Funky, which is the design is very difficult.
Yeah, it almost looks like
it's
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's a mixed culture farmhouse ale from Indeed Brewing in the Twin Cities.
Oh,
so
nice. It's got that like funky, like 70s font.
Yeah, but it's too fucking hard to read. It's kind of bullshit.
Yeah, it almost looks like, I was going to say, it almost looks like graffiti.
Yeah, but that you would have seen in the opening credits of Welcome Back, Kotter.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that. So we have this like fancy craft beer store like around the corner from us, and I'll go in there. They like have taps too, and usually I'll get like a beer from their tap. But if I try to buy cans from that place, I'm just completely overwhelmed because there's 800 fucking cans in there, and they all have terrible graphic design. I can't see what's on any of the cans.
Yeah,
and it's it's just like my brain kind of fogs over, and I just leave. I'm sure
usually in tears.
Yeah, basically.
With the craft brewing here, so many times you go into a store and you're like looking for a good beer, but then there's so many beers in there that I just turn around and there's the Coors, and I'm like, fucking.
I know you and I love you.
You see the Rocky Mountains, and you're
I
like,
love you, man.
Rocky Mountain High.
I usually do that with Hams, which is from the land of sky blue waters, and that's my 30-pack go-to.
Hams is delicious. Mm-hmm. It's a good beer.
Speaking of Coors, what are you drinking, Jay?
Well, once again, I just want to go
no palate. Still no palate
on a limb and say that if the bottle says the coveted lager, these some bitches ain't got a fucking leg to stand on. I'm drinking once again Coors Bonquay. Coors Bonquay. You can see it right there in the red. That there's a good shit. It's in the stubby bottles.
Love those.
I love those things.
Still 12 ounces, but feels like 16 sometimes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love me a banquet beer.
This is from the Legacy Collection,
They're pretty
by
good,
the way.
actually.
Yeah, banquet beers are delicious, man.
A little more flavor than Coors
What's
Light.
Banquet?
Okay. I am drinking, again, I think I've already mentioned this on the podcast before, but from Black Sheep Brewing in the UK, the Monty Python's Holy Grail Amber Gold Ale, tempered over burning witches. It's very good.
Nice.
I like it. I like the can. But yeah, it's a nice, like, mellow ale. So that is, we drink because we work or we breathe or we wake up in the morning. Mm-hmm. If you want to share what you're drinking, you can hashtag we drink because we work. Which brings us to our next segment, our weekly distractions. Do you guys have anything that's been distracting you this week?
Man, so much. So, my life is kind of chaos here, but my mother-in-law was in town. And so we just took her on adventures around the city, Max and I. And we went to Staten Island. This is the first time I've been to the Forgotten Borough. So we took the Staten Island ferry. That was fun. And when we got there, what most people do is they take the Staten Island ferry, which is free. And you see the Statue of Liberty, and you see the harbor, and then you stay on the boat and you go back. But we didn't. We got off and we wandered around Staten Island for a while, which was, it's weird. So there's this thing here where in Manhattan, there's always somebody that's right behind you when you're walking, and you can sense that at all times. There's always somebody right behind you, and it's kind of like it's unsettling because you can't just like stop and check your phone or tie your shoelaces or something. You kind of got to like look around to make sure nobody's there. But you get off the Staten Island ferry and there ain't fucking nobody anywhere. So that felt different. We went to the National Lighthouse Museum, which was something, and might go on a they do a boat tour. I might do a circumnavigation of Staten Island on May 22nd. Haven't fully decided, but then we went to a brewery over there, which was actually, it made awesome beers and it was kid friendly, so we could bring the kid in there. So actually had a lovely time in Staten Island. That was my good distraction recently.
Nice.
Are you going to see if they'll let you drive the boat?
That's a good question. Maybe they need a new boat driver. Yeah. I'd have to learn a lot about lighthouses. These guys are not just like lighthouse enthusiasts. These guys are like really, really into lighthouses. a guy was following us around, telling us about they have these like replicas of various lighthouses, and this guy was telling us about every fucking one, man. And he was like, "Where are you guys from? Where have you visited? Let me tell you about a lighthouse there." And it's like, man, can I just read the fucking plaques already? Can I watch your instructional video? But yeah, I probably will be trying to work there.
How about you, Josh? Have any distractions this week?
Well, I'm always watching baseball at F1.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, not that this is weird, but I've been watching a lot of Rockford Files this week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Which ones?
I watched the one where Rocky got the weird amount of money in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't even around, and so there's a whole to do. And Rocky got arrested because some of the bills were marked, and
Nice.
Angel threw him under the bus because Angel went and changed in some of the bills because he owed some bookies some money. So
I saw a episode of Diagnosis Murder last night that I'm pretty sure it like had Rockford's trailer in it.
okay,
There was like a guy living in a trailer on what looked like, I forget, Paradise Cove, but I forget what
Cove
it's really
Road,
called. Yeah, whatever it's really called. And it was like the same trailer. I was pretty pumped. Great episode of that show.
Nice.
Fans of Diagnosis Murder.
all three of you.
Yeah.
Did we get to your distraction yet? I don't
No.
think so.
Did we get to yours?
No.
No.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. My distraction, it's actually been really hard to be distracted from work lately because it's been a shit show. But I've been trying to distract myself. I kind of got sucked in. Have you guys played Trivia Crack? It's just like a silly, stupid trivia game. So me and three of my coworkers all signed up for it. And that's what we do at work. We display each other.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of been distracting me, easing my mind slightly for at least a few minutes at a time. It's fun.
Yeah.
How about you?
I mean, I think now every single week my distraction volleys between my garage painting and Formula One. And this week it's
Nice.
Painting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a week until Miami.
Yeah. Really, I've been almost every day besides today, I've been out in the garage just painting. Just painting.
What are you working on?
Actually, it's a good story. A buddy at work, he went to a garage sale and they were selling an Harley Davidson Sportster tank, gas tank.
Okay.
Nice.
They're hard to get a hold of, and he gave it to me.
Nice.
And he was like, "This is for you to do something with," because he knows like I'm not painting other people's stuff right now. I'm building a portfolio. So Monday I painted it, clear coated it. Tuesday I went out there to wet sand the clear coat so I could do like graphics on top of it, and basically played fucking basketball with it. It slipped out of my hands and went punk, punk, punk.
Oh no.
After I finished like painting the base of everything and put like 3 dents in it, so I basically had to sand everything down and bondo it and get it back to normal. Because with a gas tank,
I suppose you can't pound it out from the inside. You can't get in there.
No, you can't get in there.
Yeah.
So I bondoed it and started over.
Right. And you're not going Christmas tree on this one?
No, I'm not going Christmas tree on this one. I didn't mean to go Christmas tree on the last one.
I know, I heard.
It was very Christmassy.
Mm-hmm.
He made a list of all the ones that we already talked about last time. So we're not
Gotcha.
I'm not just
So we're not recovering ground.
just talking about how our boss lived in the office, or we found a dead body on the dock.
Well, one of the dead bodies.
There were multiple.
Yeah, I mean we're in a popular spot for dead bodies.
For dead bodies.
Yeah.
It was a hot spot for dead bodies.
There was one guy who there's like a big bridge there, right? The Congress Avenue Bridge. It's famous. If you've seen Austin, you've seen the Congress Avenue Bridge. That's where the dumb bats come out. Fuck them bats.
Yeah.
But,
Saw them a lot.
I know. But actually, man, I wonder how it's going to... Anyways, doesn't matter.
We worked at a boat company in downtown Austin to catch everybody up who didn't listen.
Yeah, and if you've not been to Austin, Austin is famous for its colony of Mexican free-tailed bats, the largest in an urban setting around.
In North America, there's a larger one in South America now.
Yeah, whatever. Anyways, bats are
them.
great. Love the bats. They're really great. But because it is an iconic bridge in Austin, people will jump off of it. And one guy jumped off of it and never came back up.
Oh no.
Yeah, he dove into there's sort of an eddy that forms at the south end, and he swan dived off of the bridge, tall bridge, swan dived, and it basically
Shallow water. It's not very deep.
Suffocated in mud.
Oh no.
He went headfirst into
probably
maybe 6 feet of water and 12 feet of mud.
Oh fuck.
So he's just
What a
they
way
never
to
found
go.
him. Yeah.
Well, no, they brought him back up like a day later
nice.
because they were looking down. They were looking downstream from there, because they assumed that he would come up, but no, he had dove into mud and stuck.
How far
And then some diver
into
was
the
like,
mud was
you know,
he?
there's feet.
like
There's feet
waist
up there.
Waist?
like to his waist, I believe.
Holy shit. So there were
Yeah.
just like legs
Wow.
sticking out of the mud.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of fun happened at that lake.
Jesus.
Whenever it would rain, all of the creeks would like feed all of the water that rained into the city of Austin into the lake, and then if it got bad enough, they'd have to sort of start floodgate operations. And so one time, these French girls who they'd rented a canoe from the hostel down at like the east side of the lake, which is pretty close to the dam. They rented the hostel didn't know that the lake was closed. And so they rented these French girls a canoe, and the French girls went out and couldn't get back to the dock and ended up getting sucked out through the dam. And they lived, but they had all of their clothes torn off. And so they got sucked through the dam and ended up downstream and had to like walk up to some random guy's house. So these young French tourists like had to walk up to this guy's house to like stark naked and ask for help.
He was like, my dreams have been
Yeah.
answered.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's like weird down there, especially in previous years. It's like definitely becomes like more rural and a lot poorer once you get down there. There was another time when, so there's 7 lakes in a chain. They're called the Highland Lakes, and 6 of the lakes, the dams are managed by the Lower Colorado River Authority, which is like this like state agency that's basically professional at doing this. But the lake that we were on, that dam was managed.
The last one in the
last
line.
one in the line. So the lowest one with very big ones above it is managed by the city of Austin, which doesn't necessarily have the budget for dam maintenance that LCRA does. And there was one time when there's huge floods and there's tons of water coming down, and the city of Austin was unable to open their floodgates. The dam broke, and they had to send guys down to manually open it from a boat in a flooding river, and they got their boat stuck in the dam gates. And then it was just like for a second it looked like the whole city of Austin was going to, like, downtown was going to flood catastrophically. But yeah, Pike and I had to go into work that day. Pike, my buddy who now lives here in New York too, we had to go down there, and we couldn't get to work because, you know, we're in, like, the boats are on a dock, and there was a body of water about, like, I don't know, maybe 10 feet wide between where we could get close to the boats and the dock that floated. So it's like the boat was still there. We could see it. It was just like
there's a river in between you and the dock.
So it's like, are we going to swim over there? No.
We'll go up to the hotel bar and watch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there were days like that. That was a fun job, and it was definitely a lot more random nonsense would happen there than at my later boat job, which was still fun and still bizarre, but not on that exact level. I did see a ship carrying, I don't know, maybe several thousand, tens of thousands of tons of molten sulfur catch on fire and nearly run into a barge carrying fuel. So that was cool. But,
that was almost a like ecological disaster.
Yeah. So I'm going, and I see this ship, like a big ship, big ship, catch on fire in multiple places, in like multiple kinds of. You get used to when you're out on like the ocean, you get used to smoke colors, and like diesel smoke makes a color, and just like the steam from a well-maintained engine makes a different color. But when you start seeing like 4 different colors of smoke at the same time, it's like, that doesn't look great.
Something's
that
fucked.
doesme look great.
That's how you know shit's about to get real.
Yeah, so we'd see that like coming from the base of the smokestack. That's another issue. And then we start, we like, me and my buddy who was the deckhand, I'm going like, he was driving, and I'm like, man, just slow it down a little bit. Just like, ease off. I don't know what's going on up here. And then like a second later, we start seeing all the guys on the ship like putting on their firefighting gear. And then we're like, reverse.
Yeah.
And then we hear the radio call that's like, vessel not under command, which what that means is that they have lost the use of their engine. Now, this thing weighs, again, tens of thousands of tons. I don't know the exact
So there's no
stats on that
stopping
thing.
it.
No, that thing's like, without having engines, that thing is not stopping for miles. Mm-hmm. And it's going to run like through the concrete pier on the shore, and definitely through the barge filled with fuel oil that's in between them and the pier. So that was a fun day at work, but nothing happened there. And like, we ran aground once, which would have been much worse if we actually got stuck. Then we used to run aground in Austin all the time, and like half of the time nobody would even know it happened. This time it was like, oh God, I got to call the Coast Guard. I got to like report this whole thing.
I mean, the boats that we were driving in Austin all had to be electric by law.
Mm-hmm.
And so the max you could be going is maybe like 10 knots, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably more like 7 or 8 knots.
Yeah, not even that. Yeah, like 3.
Yeah,
probably, if I had to guess.
Yeah. And so if you run up on a sandbar going that slow in a pontoon boat, like almost no one's going to notice.
Yeah.
So,
but if you're in a boat that weighs tens of thousands of tons,
it's different.
Yeah.
3 knots turns into like
not being able to stop for a few miles.
Yeah. But like, I mean, like where I ran aground in Galveston and that boat, like, okay, if I run aground in Austin, worst thing that's going to happen is we're going to have to get these people out of our boat, like to shore, which is, I don't know, 10 feet away, something like that. Where I ran aground in Galveston, it's like, there's like a 25 mile an hour wind coming out of the north. There's no place to go. Like there's, we're in the middle of a waterway that's, you can see land, but it's a long way out. And I'm not getting these. I was taking these birders out to go look at fucking pelican chicks. It smelled awful.
Did you say pelican dicks?
Chicks.
Oh, chicks.
No, it was, you were right, Jay. It was, we're all wanting to look at pelican dicks.
I was like, what? You took people out to go look at pelican dicks?
Pelican dick
I'm
tour.
sure they're into that. Yeah, fucking birders, man. And they wouldn't even note it either. Oh man, it was like me and the deckhand knew that we were aground. And there was this guy who worked with us. He was the marine biologist, quote unquote. And he was this guy. He looks like Crocodile Dundee. His name's Sid. He's a real asshole. Anyways, Sid notices that we're aground, and instead of just being like, "Is everything all right?" to me quietly, he starts screaming about it. So all the people on his dumb birding tour know about it, and then they start freaking out. And I'm like, "Guys, it's not that big of a deal." Do you know how many times I ran aground each week in Austin?
Yeah, there's no there. Come on.
Yeah, but that was our jobs. That shit happened. Thankfully, nobody got hurt that badly. There was another time when our buddy Pike, who I just mentioned, he jumped off of the boat. He was driving because we were running into our competitor's boat, Lone Star. And rather than just let the two boats collide with each other, which would have been fine, who gives a shit, Pike like jumped off to try to stop it, which, I don't know if you know about physics, but the boat weighs a lot, even if it's not that big of a boat. It weighs a fucking lot, and Pike is a small man. He was like, what is he, like 5'7", something like that?
You could mistake him for a leprechaun.
His ankle took the brunt of that collision, and it was about the size of like a watermelon for a week after that. It's disgusting.
Only in Texas.
I mean, we could just tell Pike stories for like an entire podcast. Like the time where he was filling the batteries, marine batteries you have to fill with distilled water.
Yeah.
And
that's a
he was
fucking
filling
job.
The marine batteries.
When Jay, when you were mentioning batteries, I was having nightmares because we used to have to do this like once a month or something.
It's like once every 2 weeks.
But our boss would never tell us when we were doing that. And I don't know if you know about battery acid, but if you wear like cotton, battery acid eats through cotton in like without even looking at it hard. But if you just wear like a polyester blend, your clothes are fine because you're not getting that much on you unless you spill a ton. But he would never tell us. And then it's like, oh, great. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Well, there's another pair of fucking dumb shorts that I don't want to even be wearing that I have to buy now. But so Pike was filling the batteries with distilled water, and some of it splashed into his eye, and so he had to go. We have like hoses that you would. Our access is like near the pool, sort of across the hike and bike trail. So Pike is laying on the ground right next to where all of these runners and bikers are like bicycling and running by. And he's laying on the ground with a hose, just like pouring water into his eyes for like 3 minutes.
As one does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh, did I ever tell you the story about how I did one job as like a production assistant, but it's kind of, I feel like I should have gotten better credit than that, but it doesn't matter. But for Josh's production company, and
it wasn't my production company. So I was working with a line producer who was also on the side producing this thing for the Texas Tenors. It was a PBS.
Yeah, anyway, so it's the Texas Tenors, which I don't know if you've seen these guys. For one thing, they're not from Texas. They're from Branson, Missouri. For another thing, they look like they're from Branson, Missouri. They're fucking ridiculous looking. They look like they're from the Righteous Gemstones. They're kind of amazing. They're nice guys. But But two great stories about this shoot. So we were right by Minute Maid Park, where the Astros play. And we're like waiting for the fucking camera and the sound to get synced, which takes forever, just forever for them to figure that shit out. So we're sitting there in the car because it's hot. And like me and one of the Texas Tenors are sitting there. And apparently we're right next to a Harris County jail facility because Houston has a large network of jails in part of downtown Houston. And we watch two inmates and a guy who's presumably one of the corrections officers walk out onto the roof of this facility with a rope and a bucket. And they lower something in the bucket down to a guy in a pickup truck below. He takes the bucket, he ties something else to the rope, and they reel that up. And so me and this guy who looks like Baby Billy Gemstone, or whatever his name is, Uncle Baby Billy, we're sitting there going like, did we just see like a drug deal go down? Like, so that was fun. But then later we were in Galveston, and the cameraman had a drone, and we used the drone a lot actually around here and there and everywhere. And he thought he was up to date on the rules for commercial drone operators. But when we got to this one site where we're going to use the drone, he's like got it there, and we're kind of setting up, doing our thing. These two dudes who are obvious cops show up, like very stiff backs, very, very square jaws show up. And they get out and they're like, "Hey guys, are you that film crew that's shooting around here?" And we're like, yeah. And they're like, they're FAA investigators sent down to Galveston because apparently some private drone operator flew his drone like through a plate glass window into a restaurant or something. And they heard that we were operating a drone in Galveston.
So they assumed that you were that guy.
No, they knew that we weren't that guy, but they wanted to make sure that that we weren't going to be doing it where we were about to do it because we were too close to a helipad.
Yeah,
so, and we did
can't be doing that on a flight path.
No, exactly. Even though we were going to be like well below any, like well out of the way of anything, but yeah, we did not have tower clearance to fly our drones, so it was not going to happen.
I was on a shoot we were shooting at the Coliseum at USC.
Mm-hmm.
And like seriously, every time I've ever been on a drone shoot, it went wrong.
Yeah.
Because we talked about on the last time we were on about the one where it was the Walk the Moon video, and the producer from Vivo reached up to catch the drone instead of letting the drone up landed, and he sliced his hand open.
Yeah.
Well, so on this one, we're shooting for it was a documentary for Sky Sports, and they were doing a documentary about Zola Budd and Mary Decker. And so it's all about the 1984 Olympics. And so they're shooting at the Coliseum where the race was. And the drone ops The drone ops were doing this shot where they're coming kind of up over the Coliseum from the outside on the I-5 side, coming up over the side of the Coliseum down into the bowl over the field. And they did it once, go back for a second pass. And on the second pass, they hit like the torch.
Oops.
And crashed their drone.
Oops.
So luckily they were pros and they had a second drone. They get that second drone up and running. They've got it like, you know, they're not going to fuck with that over the coming up over into the pool or into the field anymore, or into the bowl of the stadium. And so they're in the stadium. They've got it like getting just sort of an aerial shot on the football field that would have the track around it. And they hit the fucking goalpost.
Oh,
they hit the upright. They hit the upright. Like they had been up for maybe 5 minutes the second time and hit the upright. And they only brought 2 drones. Mm-hmm. So we were supposed to be shooting with drones at USC for, I think it was scheduled to be 4 hours. Mm-hmm. And they had maybe 20 minutes in the air.
Oh, no.
Now, if I'm up to date on the FAA guidelines for how commercial drone operators are supposed to operate, there's supposed to be a spotter. So there was
a spotter.
The spotter didn't notice the goalpost?
No, they were getting close to the goalpost. Oh. Like that was the goal.
Yeah.
They were supposed to get close to the goalpost.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And they did. Yeah. They got very close.
Yeah.
No, there were 2 of them. There was a spotter in the op, but the spotter, I don't know. The spotter can't make the op not hit things.
Yeah. Gust of wind, whatever.
Yeah.
How expensive are those drones that they're using? That they're just
these were expensive drones. The one that cut the guy's open on the boat, cut the guy's hand open on the boat. That wasn't that expensive. These were heavy duty drones that he probably just cost his boss, I don't know, maybe 10 grand.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I guess I worked some industry jobs, entertainment industry jobs.
Yeah. Oh, tell us about the Bollywood movie. That's a good one.
Okay. So it was the first scripted thing that I got to work on that went to start shooting. So I had just spent like 2.5 months on a movie that the funding fell through on. And so we were in prep forever. Mm-hmm. And then like this investor who was supposed to be like pumping $100 million into Element Media for a handful of projects, that investor turned out to be completely stringing them along. And he basically wasted $3 million to do it. So you kind of like, okay, I don't know why that happened.
Did your checks cash?
The movie, mine did, but only because I was still just a PA. Nice. The line producer was like, "You're getting paid the least. Here you go," and cut me like my last payroll check was just a check, like a handwritten check. Go cash this now.
Today.
And so licking my wounds after that, I got this job working on. Well, I guess I had a couple like day playing scripted jobs, but this was my first like long-term scripted job. And so it was this movie that was, everyone kept saying that the star was the Indian Tom Hanks.
Okay.
That was like the shorthand for understanding who this person is. Mm-hmm. And everyone said it. And since then, I've like just randomly like, okay, well, I guess I'm like, I'd meet Indian people, or like I went back to Austin and did a cruise and had Indian people on board. They're like, oh, that's the Indian Tom Hanks. And so like, this is like this is, I guess, how he's known. Yeah. It seems weird to us because you're like, why, whatever. It's not like he's just the voice of Tom Hanks in India.
But like, which Tom Hanks? Like, is
yeah, exactly. The good one, or the fucking one we've been saddled with for fucking 30 years.
Yeah, the Uncanny Valley like train operator one, that one?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. So we're on this Indian movie, and I started in the production office, and because of how unpleasant it was to work for one of the people in the production office, I decided that when offered, I would go to set. And so I went to set like on the second day of shooting. And if you know anything about Bollywood movies, you know that they shoot like these big dance sequences.
Mm-hmm.
So for the first 3 days of the shoot, they shot in a soundstage, and we're doing 16-hour shooting days. Then we went to Long Beach and shot another day. And because of the way production schedules work, let's say you shoot a 12-hour day. At the end of your 12-hour day, from when camera wrap happens, there has to be a 10-hour turnaround for any of the union jobs. So if you're shooting 16-hour days each day, by day 4, your earliest call time can only be so early. So by day 4, the earliest call time we could have, and we're shooting exteriors this day, earliest call time we could have on day 4 was 3:30.
Damn.
It started at 6 a.m. on Monday.
In the afternoon?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's Monday, 6 a.m. call time. By Thursday, every day had been so over that the 10 hours kept pushing the earliest start time of the day that followed back to the point where we shot with 4.5 hours of daylight.
Nice.
Oh, geez.
On a day that's all exteriors at Seal Beach.
Oh, God.
So by the end of week 1, what was supposed to be a 4-week shoot was a 5-week shoot. On the end of day 4, we had shot an eighth of a page. Because that eighth of a page was just
Dance number.
dance sequence.
Nice.
So 4 days of dance sequence. Then
And for those of you unfamiliar, typically a minute of screen time equals 1 page.
a page.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so I just want to tell all of our listeners out there, this is why musicals fucking suck.
I agree.
Except for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which I have to watch about
Nope.
every other day because of my kid.
Nope.
That one's pretty
Still
good.
fuck that. So the movie was, well, when you're in the transpo vans going from like crew parking to set, when you're hearing all of the grizzled old industry vets griping about how this is the worst fucking show they've ever worked on, you have to be wondering what the fuck you got yourself into.
Yeah.
They shot for 3 weeks. This is in 2016. This movie's still not come out.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
shit.
The movie's still not come out. They shot for they were supposed to shoot for 5 weeks in the US, and really for everything they wanted to do in the US, they should have shot for 6, but they were scheduled for 5 weeks. At the end of 3 weeks, they had there were 4 entire departments that were either fired or walked off.
Oh, wow.
Whole departments.
So they're still shooting the dance scene.
No, but they were shooting to add insult to injury, they were shooting every scene in 3 languages.
Yeah,
Oh, my
So
God.
they were shooting
Complicated.
everythted in triplicate.
that's complicated.
Every single scene they were shooting 3 times. The other issue is the star ended up being the director.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Indian Tom Hanks ended up being the director.
Was he more of like a Sully at this point, or was he more of like a like a Pep Strebeck?
Well, it was hard to tell because he would have to go into hair and makeup. So he would tell everybody like how he wanted everything set up. He'd go into hair and makeup and get like a prosthetic nose and a fat suit put
so
on
like
him.
4 hours later,
and,
he
like,
comes out.
So 2 hours later, he would come out, and then he'd come to set, and everyone would have set up everything, at least from an outsider standpoint, in the way that it seemed like it was supposed to be set up. And he would be like, no, that's not right. That's not right. I need this. No, let's move the camera back this way. So everything that had been set up and was sitting there for a solid hour because he was in hair and makeup would have to then get adjusted, moved, relit, all of that. So by the time everything was set to his second liking, it would be like 3 hours after he said, okay, this is how I want it set up. So every day was like a 16-hour day. We were doing 6-day weeks. Saturday would end up being like an overnight shoot. You're not getting out until Sunday morning at like 7, and then you just like sit there in the parking lot and drink for like 2 hours before going home. You'd try to figure out how the fuck you were going to sleep in the like. I mean, you had to like you're leaving literally. It's a 6-day week. You're getting done at Sunday morning at 7 a.m. and then you're having to be back in Monday morning at 6 a.m.
Oh, gross.
So you're not even out of the like offset for 24 hours,
Right.
and that's your weekend.
Ugh.
Did it have good crafty though?
No, it was terrible crafty.
How did the extras not murder Indian Tom Hanks?
I don't know. Well, the extras, that's a whole different. So on one of the days where we probably had like 35 extras one day, and I was the one who was from the AD department who was like having to wrangle them. And this is like the first set PA job that I had that was like a real set PA job. And so like I was having to wrangle all of the extras, and you wouldn't be able to tell if you just listen to the podcast or you just listen to me talking now, but I'm very patient and pretty understanding of people in general, relatively empathetic. And you would see other like more seasoned people in the AD department treating background actors like they're subhuman. And it's just like, I don't see the fucking point of that. And so most of them were fine. Most of them were totally fine, but there were like a handful. One guy was like fucking up shots in the background, doing like gang signs and stuff.
Jesus.
This is like a white kid. This is like a weird white kid. And you're just like, what the fuck are you doing, man? The first AD had to like dress him down, and then he still tried to do it again. And like someone had to like point out, like we basically had to start watching this guy every time he was in the shot. And then it just got to the point like, look, just fuck it. You're done.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Like this, you're a background actor.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be making this. This isn't about you.
Yeah.
But there was another one who like, I told him that he was going, and this is like a fucking 50-year-old guy. I was like, okay, so we're going to use you in this next shot. I need you to be camera ready. You're going to be sitting in first class. So, shirt, tie, like all that. And so no more than 5 minutes later, I get the call over the walkie, like, oh, hey, we need the first class passengers. It's this shot. And so, I grab like the 6 people, and I go to get him, and he's in a fucking t-shirt. Like it had been 5 fucking minutes since I talked to this guy and told him that he needed to be like, first class get up. He had the shirt and tie. Like he was totally
to the nines.
And he wasn't. He was in a goddamn white t-shirt. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? I just told you you're going to be in the shot like in 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes later. I need you, and you're not fucking ready. You were in a shirt and tie when I told you needed this. Why did you change? Why did you take the shirt and tie off? And so I'm sitting here getting yelled at over walkie, like, where's my sixth first class passenger? I'm getting yelled at. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, look, I did everything I was supposed to do here. What the fuck? So yeah, background's not always fun. It would have been nice if there was, God damn it. Okay. So on one of the overnights, and overnight shoots are the fucking worst. Like always. An overnight shoot is just like, kill me now. No one should be doing this. So we're on an overnight shoot. They're doing a oneer with a steady cam up. So they've got the steady cam up.
That's a long
he's
shot for you
trying to get the shot that
normals
that the director wants. And it's all told, it's probably like a 30-second shot, but there's a bunch of background, and it's supposed to be like on the tarmac of an airport. So everyone has to reset every time there's a new take. And there were 37 fucking takes of this shot.
Oh my God.
Nice.
At the first one, maybe at 3:30 in the morning. By the time we're fucking done with it, it's like 6 a.m. and the sun's coming up. And you're like, oh, you didn't get that on shot 17? You didn't get that on take 10? You needed 37 shots for this? Like, this isn't a goddamn David Fincher movie.
Ugh.
So yeah, that's probably like the worst, or the worst like experience that I had I mean, I left out a ton. I could just talk about that fucking Indian movie that no one's ever going to see because it's never going to get finished. I could talk about that.
Well, fuck, that was 2016 and the movie still hasn't been made. That's 8 years. That's 8 years.
Well, Indian Tom Hanks got into a skiing accident when when it was supposed to go back into production. Because the deal was, so at the end of 3 weeks, they were just like, fuck it. And just cut bait. Like, they just like, okay, this is done. So like with a day left in weeks, in the third week of shooting, they're just like, okay, tomorrow's the last day. There was a moment that, so I was the first office PA hired. And so I was given the opportunity, I guess, to be his personal assistant.
Nice. You turned that down.
I turned it down instantly. I was like, I don't think this seems like a good fit for me.
You could have learned so much, Josh.
Okay, so to be fair, when we're on set and he would like talk about film, he was like engaging and whatever. It was just the experience of everything else was terrible.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't feel like I'm burning any bridges there. I don't think.
But you're not going to get a job in Bollywood.
Well, when we were talking with the DP, who was, some of the crew was in from India, the DP, some of the producers. But when we were talking with the DP, he was telling us that he had worked on a shoot where they shot for 48 hours in a row.
Oh my God.
That's legal?
So
in India, yes. So that's part of the problem is they're expecting, like, some of the director is expecting sort of like the experience of what he has done in the film industry in India forever, where it's basically just like sort of indentured servitude or slavery.
Yeah.
So for our listeners, what is DP?
Oh, sorry, director of photography.
Yeah,
okay.
The guy in charge of the cameras. So, Josh, your story like brought me back to my first experience with the film industry. And I was a child. We lived in a town outside Boston called Winchester. And Spencer for Hire was filming an episode in our town.
Nice.
And so everybody in town went out to watch Spencer for Hire film. And I remember sitting there on one of the main streets in town, and I watched Avery Brooks and Robert Ulrich walk across the street. It had to have been like 30 times. And they just walked across the street.
You're like, oh, that's it. That's to establish that they're not shooting on a soundstage in LA.
Walk across the street, walk across the street, walk across the street. And finally we're like, are they going to do anything besides just walk across this one street?
Nope. There's nothing more boring than figuring out like, oh, wait, this is what it's like to be on a film set.
Yeah.
So I worked on this YouTube. It was still YouTube Red before it was YouTube Premium, but I was working on a YouTube pilot where it was sort of like looking at breaking down the science in the movies. And so for the pilot, they were reenacting scenes from Mad Max Fury Road.
Nice.
And so like we were up in, do you know California City, Kay?
No. Where is that?
Okay, so California City is oddly like the third largest city by area in California, but largely because it's one of those like failed land investments.
Yeah.
So like the city of California City is gigantic, but it's like it's just north of the Air Force Base in Kern County. Andrews? Is that Andrews there or Edwards? Edwards is in California, right?
Yeah, Edwards is in California. We used to go to air shows.
Yeah, so it's just north of Edwards Air Force Base. Like, you know where the airplane graveyard is?
Yeah.
There's a big airplane graveyard up by Lancaster, like north of Lancaster, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's where California, but on the way to Tehachapi.
Yeah.
So California City is massive land-wise. Again, third largest city in land area in California. But there's like maybe 10,000 people.
Oh, wow.
And all because it was this guy decided, oh yeah, this is going to be the next thing. We're going to make so much money off of this development. And obviously it didn't happen. And so we're shooting in California City, but like there's not much up there. And so you're in the middle of the desert. We had to drive every morning off of pavement, like 5 miles on these, on these streets that were just dirt roads in the desert. So we'd have to like drive 5 miles off road doing like 20 miles an hour, which is not fast, and it would take you forever.
Yeah.
And so we're shooting all this stuff out there, and like the stuff that we're shooting was awesome. You know, you're recreating shit from Fury Road, but the experience was less cool.
Did they have the metal band and shit? You know, in the
there were all
guys on the posts.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. No,
Awesome.
you're joking, but they absolutely had that.
Awesome.
They basically had like a bunch of like post-apocalyptic.
Is there a Fury Road reenactment kind of? Like
it sure seems like it because they were all
society?
there. So we're shooting this crazy thing out there, and like, I mean, we had like ballistics dummies that they were like shooting, like doing controlled like shooting of bullets, and ballistics dummies are like set up to have the like liquid in the organs, so you could like if a bullet hit it, you could see like how the bullet affected everything.
Cool.
But the ballistics dummies are crazy expensive, and like they're like $20,000 a piece.
Jesus.
And so they were in one of the other vehicles driving up. I was driving the camera truck up, and the camera truck had like.
Don't they let Teamsters do that shit, Josh?
No, this was not a Teamster.
Okay.
Shit. This was a YouTube Red Pilot, Adam.
Okay.
So I was driving the camera truck with no shit like.
$200,000 and
over $1 million worth of cameras. We had a Phantom. We had like the full cinematic red.
Mm-hmm.
We had everything. We had crazy slow-mo. Like I can't remember
the
Phantom. The Phantom camera is like the crazy slow-mo, like getting something like 250 frames per second or something like that. Yeah. That's probably too little. It's probably way more than that. But
that's pretty slow mo. That's I think.
But this is like crazy. That camera alone was on loan, and it was $250,000.
Wow.
So I was driving. Should not have been, but I was driving up the 118 with like $2 million worth of shit in the back of the van back of the box truck. So I was driving that box truck. One of the other guys was driving a bigger box truck.
You get some wind gusts on those roads.
Yeah, it was terrible. The crosswind, like you would feel like you're going to get blown off the fucking road. Yeah. And we also had a Expedition or some black SUV, the big SUV. I think it was, or an Expedition. Yeah,
that's a big one.
Yeah,
I think it was an Expedition.
Yeah.
So one of the guys was driving that up, and that just had the ballistics dummies. And my buddy, who was the production coordinator, or I guess he was production manager on that. He's in the car with him, and he's like, "Whatever you do, these ballistics dummies are $20,000 a piece. They can't, you can't like slam on the brakes or anything. Like they can't get damaged. They're so fucking expensive. If you fuck these up on the way there, that's like, a third of the reason why we're even doing the fucking shoot. Yeah. So like you have to be so fucking careful." 5 minutes later, the dipshit PA slams on the brakes.
Oh, no.
Slams on the brakes. Like my buddy's in the car with him and he's trying to get work done. Slams on the brakes. Calvin's like, "Pull over." And the guy's like, "Oh no, it's fine." It is like, "No, we can keep going." Calvin's like, "Pull the fucking car over." And so they get out of the car. Calvin checks. The ballistic dummies are still okay. And Calvin's like, "You're done driving." And so Calvin had to like stop working and drive his car the rest of the way up because like the ballistics dummies were almost fucked like maybe 20 miles after they left.
Jeez.
So anyway, we're up there shooting in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. And we're doing a ton of cool shit, but you're in the middle of nowhere. And so like every day we'd have to send one of the PAs off in his own personal vehicle. The nearest grocery store was probably 30 miles. And we'd gotten a lot of crafty, like a pallet of water. Yeah. We'd gotten a ton of crafty for this shoot. And he was having to go fill his car with water every single fucking day. Oh, like every day is just bottled water. We're shooting in like the Mojave it was 107 and 106 and 108.
Oh my God.
So 3 days shooting, and it was that hot. It was also almost every day was 20 to 30 mile an hour winds.
Oh, jeez.
So you're basically in a sandstorm like half of the time. Everybody was like, you'd blow your nose at the end of it and it was just black.
Yeah, you're in
at the end of each day.
You're basically
you're in an air fryer, essentially. Yes. Yeah. So at the end of day one, everyone's just fucked. Like I went to the convenience store that night and got like a bunch of fucking Pedialyte, like two Pedialytes for every day. And I was just like, I would down 2 Pedialytes at the end of each night because I just knew it was like, this is fucked. Yeah. It's so hot. It's so windy. You're in the desert.
You didn't even have a shower beer, Josh? That's bad.
Oh, no, I had a shower beer.
Nice.
Do I look like an asshole? Of course I had a shower beer.
Nothing better than a shower beer.
Nothing better than a shower.
Nothing better than a shower beer.
Especially after a 16-hour day.
In the heat.
So in the safety meeting, at the beginning of each day on set, you're supposed to have a safety meeting. Mm-hmm. And so at the beginning of day 2 on set, the medic was like, so how many of you, just show of hands, how many of you were shitting your brains out this morning? And like, you know, a handful of people who were bold enough to raise their hands. And he's like, well, that's what happens when people don't wash their hands and then stick or use like, because a lot of people were using like these bandanas with like ice packs in them and putting them in the cooler with the water in it. He's like, yeah. So a lot of those guys who aren't like washing their hands or are putting their do-rags in the cooler with the waters. Yeah. They're giving you all
Giardia.
They're giving you all the shits. Maybe not Giardia, but close, you know, in that vein.
Oh gosh.
And so at lunch that day, the same PA that I sort of talked about before that I'll not name. Everyone's lined up to get lunch. And he goes up to the cooler with the bottled water in it. And the bottled water, like the plastic is so shitty that absolutely whatever like bacteria or germs are on you could get into the water easily. Goes up to the water bottle cooler, dips his arms in up to his elbows and uses that as a fucking sink. In front of the entire crew. Like the whole crew sees him do this. The day, and to be fair, I'm not 100% sure he was there during the safety meeting, but after he did that, and like a lot of the crew was already kind of pissed at him because he'd like burned through base camp on a gator, doing like not slowing down.
Yeah.
Gator's like an ATV for people who don't know what that is. But he'd blow through base camp doing like 25 miles an hour. This is where people are walking around. 25 miles an hour on a gator, like almost hit one of the prop guys. It was a whole thing. And so he was already kind of like persona non grata. So he did that. And I had to be like, I pulled him aside like, dude, that is fucking disgusting. Like, you cannot use the fucking cooler with drinks in it as your fucking sink. Everyone has to drink out of that, and you just did that in front of literally the whole crew. So, whatever. The worst thing that happened on that shoot was the honey wagon, which is what they call the toilet wagon, because, you know, piss, honey, ha ha ha. So the honey wagon was having issues. We basically had one toilet.
How big was the crew?
Like 60 people.
Oh my God.
So we had one toilet and it was getting serviced like once a day or so. But so there's a problem when you can't get enough water pressure and the toilet has like a snake in it at all. You know, the tube like leaving the bowl has a snake in it. And so it was clogging all the time. And so
Did you have a shit vac?
I wish we had a shit vac. You have no idea how much I wish we had a shit vac. No, we had a stick.
Yeah, but that doesn't work if there's a snake in it, man.
Well, you could shove things down. It would work eventually. So we had the stick, the special stick that, you know, stayed in the corner of the toilet room. And whenever it would clog, one of the PAs would have to go in there. And so you basically you had to check it like every 10, 20 minutes. Like no shit, every 10, 20 minutes.
So to speak.
No, literally. And so I go in, it's fucked as usual, and I'm jamming the stick down, trying to like force the shit through, and the stick gets stuck.
You stuck the stick.
The stick got stuck under the like lip of the toilet and wouldn't come back out.
Did you twist it?
Oh, I twisted it.
Well,
it didn't.
You stuck.
It didn't twist. So I had to reach into the bowl.
No.
You have gloves?
Nope. We're in the desert, Adam.
I mean, come on. They should have some.
We're
fucking
in
gloves.
the desert in California City, Adam.
There's a medic. They have gloves.
The medic, you know how far away the medic was?
Well,
The medic was at the chute. The chute was like a quarter mile away. This was an issue where water kept flowing in. This wasn't here, let me find someone who has gloves situation. This was
man.
no, there's going to be shit water all over the fucking floor in this toilet. So I had to reach into the bowl. This was my Vietnam. I had to reach into the bowl, down into the mouth of the toilet, get the stick unstuck, and then, mercifully it eventually flushed after I got the stick out.
God.
But
so guys, don't let your
there's
kids,
no glamour in the film industry.
don't let your kids be production assistants. I think that's the moral of Josh's story here. Like
At least you had a cooler to wash your hands in.
get a union.
No, there was
job.
the issue is there's a sink in that bathroom. So of course he could have just washed his hands in the goddamn sink.
Oh,
Work
God.
the crafty table. Like don't be.
Well, yeah. The shoot was aside from the toilet situation, the shoot was good.
Yeah, that's good.
It sounded fun besides that.
Yeah,
Sounds like a lot of fucking fun.
you're reminding me of those we used to have this hospital morning rush at Spider House, one of the jobs we used to work at, and so they'd show up at 7 a.m. and start drinking.
Oh
And
yeah.
they would
They'd
get
really start drinking.
they would get lit. Like one time, one of them backed their car off the wrong part of the parking lot and went over a curb, took the door off their car.
Yeah, their door was open.
Yeah. Thankfully, I was not there. I don't think I was there that
I was
day.
definitely there that day.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that. Could
Well, I
have been
mean,
a
I
problem.
encouraged them to drink because they were third shifters, and
Yeah.
they were our tips in the morning.
But I did have a woman puked in the men's room urinal, which of all the various places one could vomit, especially the place
Why?
with a very large outdoor patio, just puke outside.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on, man. In the urinal, the worst place to clean.
Well, remember that morning that you and I were working, and at it was before 8:00. Someone had
Oh yeah, no, this.
someone had shit in there was like a back room.
I was the manager, and
you were
my
the
job
manager,
was always
and-
the shit cleaner.
Yeah. So you were the manager. Someone came and told us, or maybe one of us discovered it. I may have discovered it.
No, somebody told us. Somebody, I remember a woman came up to us and was like,
Yeah. So there was a booth.
think
There was a
there's poop
booth,
back
and we
there.
figured that someone had to have been wearing a skirt and shat in the booth, and then just left out of shame. But someone had shat in the booth, and I was like, "Well, you're the manager. You're getting paid more." So Adam had to go clean the shit there.
Yeah, and I also could reasonably just go sit down in the office and not do anything for a while and just twiddle my thumbs. So I was like, okay,
I'll clean the shit.
I guess this is my fucking problem.
Yeah. I won't have to deal with customers for 4 hours this morning. So
Fuck. God, that's miserable.
Humans are just disgusting.
yeah, humans are
think-
awful.
I miss some of those guys. I miss those old guys who was that one dude who wear there's this one guy who would wear these he was a large fellow and he was deaf, but he was also so there was a school for the deaf and a school for the blind, these schools in Austin. And so it would attract large populations of these people. But a
Because
lot of them
everyone in the state who is of need would basically have to come to
get
Austin.
shipped to
because
Austin. Exactly.
There's no
That's-
state infrastructure for anything in Texas.
Exactly. The only funding for anything is in Austin. So they get shipped to Austin. And a lot of times they have other issues too. And so we would have this group of these guys these guys were a trip because they're all 60 years old and they're all, I don't know what exactly their diagnosis would be, but they were
they're
not
all developmentally
developmentally disabled, severely developmentally disabled. And they would come in and they didn't know what noises they were making. They didn't know how to sign. They knew a few signs. But it was just they would put on this kind of show in the front room and just be very strange for anybody walking through. But one of them who had kind of graduated from this program was living on his own. and he would wear these like very droopy tank tops, and he'd come in and he really liked helicopters. I know the sign for helicopter because of him, and he really liked rocks. And he'd just be like helicopters, rocks. But he was like living on his own, but he like could not control his impulses, which would mean he would just like walk over to where like we'd keep the honey for people's tea, and he'd just start drinking the honey container.
Oh my God.
We'd have to be like, oh, don't. Like,
Well, I guess that's it for that
how
one.
do we communicate with you? Oh, but that guy was a treasure. I miss that guy. I think he would jerk off in the corner sometimes, but I mean, he
With
was
the honey?
innocent. Not with the honey. I don't think that works that
I
well.
sure hope not. But there was a corner that you could have done that from, so I'm not going to rule it out.
I've never tried it with honey, but I think
Good
it
to
would.
know.
I think it would be
counterproductive.
A couple
Yeah,
seconds,
hindrance.
and then everything would like just
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of seize up.
It would look good on camera, but that's about it. Maybe.
I worked
I
on
don't
one
know.
of those movies too.
Nice.
In the valley.
Yeah, totes.
Nice.
I wish I had. I didn't. I wasn't lucky enough.
Yeah, I don't think they have a very large crew for those movies typically.
No,
I could imagine they could. I guess
you got to be in. There's
Yeah.
you're dealing with basically an E&G crew, maybe two cams, audio. That's about it.
That's all you need, man.
The talent.
Yeah.
cool. We're not
talent.
going to get into that.
Script. Yeah.
I don't know. You put
You need a script coordinator, Adam?
Yeah. Dude, the plot is
Easiest
Did
job
somebody
ever.
call a plumber?
I did notice when we put porn in the title of one of our episodes, it got a lot of downloads.
Oh, I bet your
Yeah.
downloads went way up.
We figured out
You-
I titled one like we don't even care about the teenager orgy, and we found out that we got like a significant increase in views, and we're like, okay, we're gonna make them more salacious from now
Yeah,
on.
no, yeah. Now we're really going for it. No more fucking around, guys.
I think this episode we're going to call Munch My Benson did not work on a porn.
Oh yeah,
No.
definitely. I mean, I think we both wish we had.
No, but okay.
I'm still open to it if there are any
If anyone's
if there are
hiring,
any adult shoots going on in Minnesota, I'll gladly work on them.
Some snow bunnies shoots. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, so reminds me. So my wife and I visited Los Angeles while Josh was living there. My wife was like interviewing at jobs, and we met Josh at this fabulous place, the Redondo Pier. Redondo is like
They shoot
a beach
everything
town.
at that pier.
It's a great fucking pier. One of the best bars I've ever been to is there. It's got
Old
like a-
Tony's.
Yeah, Old Tony's amazing. Looks like it's straight out of a Rockford Files episode. It wasn't
for sure.
actually in
Yeah.
one. But anyways, we went to this Old Tony's. We walked around on the pier. There's like an old arcade that I think is dead. And then we went to this beer bar, and while we're sitting at the beer bar, Josh and I are talking about something fucking dumb. Like, he can talk about, I don't know, ADs and script supervisors all night long, right? You guys obviously know this. Or we might have been talking about baseball. I don't know. But we're talking about something, and my wife, who's next to us, she's talking to the people standing next to her. And eventually, Josh and I are like, start talking to her, and we kind of, she like turns to us and tells us what they were talking about. And apparently this was a couple, and they approached her, and they were telling her that if she needed work, she needs to start producing her own pegging videos because there's always a market for that.
There you go.
Oh, great.
Well, I mean, they had definitely like sussed out that you'd be great for getting pegged, Adam,
I
right?
guess. Yeah. So, that's kind of like
That's a possible revenue stream
I
that
was
you could
just gonna
explore.
say, yeah.
yeah. Let's just say
Good
that.
one,
Yeah,
Victor.
Josh and I.
You've got to come up with an extra $800 a
Don't
month,
do
Adam.
it.
Yeah. Like dog walking, grocery
Pegging.
shopping. I don't know what else, man.
Pegging.
Oh man.
Where can people find you guys?
So we are at places where old guys like us would be. We're at Munch My Benson. So we're at Twitter at Munch My Benson, at Facebook. We're
Friendster.
Live Journal.
Yeah.
You porn.
No. Yeah, you porn.
Yeah.
Classmates.com.
Match.com, christianmingle.com.
Was it?
No,
Farmers
but actually-
only.
yeah, farmers only for sure. JDate.
No, but
No.
Reddit, we're r/Munch My Benson.
So Reddit,
Patreon.
Instagram, for real, Reddit, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
We have a Patreon now where if you really want to hear us ramble like ad nauseum about shit, you can
Which
hear it.
Kay is unfortunately going to have to edit like an hour of us doing that on this one.
That's going to end up on our Patreon.
Yeah, that's
you can
our
go to that.
Patreon, pal. That's not
Yeah,
yours.
we also are doing like a monthly movie series where we watch like vaguely Munch My Benson adjacent films. So we watched Ghoulies, which was Mariska Hargitay. That's Olivia Benson's first movie, which is a lot of fun. And before that, we watched this movie called She's Too Young, which actually featured one of the cast from Degrassi: The Next Generation. Getting a throat
really
STD just like she did in Degrassi. And
nice.
this movie,
But more importantly,
really goes
also
there.
featuring Marcia Gay Harden, who was in SVU. Karen over at Chicklet was like, that movie made me think that every teenage boy was trying to give me syphilis.
They were.
If you're in Halifax, maybe they
I mean,
were.
if they had it, they were. If they didn't
Yeah, if
have
you're-
it, they were trying to give you syphilis.
If you're Haligonian, definitely those teenage boys are trying to give you giving you the syphilis.
Yeah, absolutely. Did we get it all, Josh? We're not on Snapchat. We're not on.
You can. We have an email.
We do.
Have a Gmail account and
Website.
MunchMyBenson.com.
Yeah. On Twitter, he's at Old Man Dugan, and I'm at AT Schwitters. Those are our personal accounts. He probably tweets a lot more than I do, but
I do.
Yeah. Well,
Whatever.
to the moon, guys. You know.
to the moon.
Thank you guys so much for coming back on.
Of course, this is a ton of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having us again.
Yeah, thanks for letting us ramble for hours.
Jesus
course.
Christ. I pity you so much for having to like try to make sense of this bullshit. Adam and I just talking without prompting, I think, for like a fucking hour and a half.
Yeah.
But
No, it's good. That's what
fine.
it's all about.
Yeah, we have fun with you guys.
We'll cut it all out.
The episode will be 15 minutes. There you go. Done. No. So thank you again for joining us. Everyone go check out Munch My Benson wherever you listen to your podcasts. And we will talk to you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, fuckers.
thanks for having us.
Oh, shit. Is Adam frozen again?
Yep.
Adam, you're frozen again.
Fucking A. That's the perfect end
That's
to
the
this
ending.
episode.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
shit. Is Adam frozen again?
If you have a workplace story you'd like to share, email it to us at fmwlpod@gmail.com or call the rant line at 310-818-3273.
You can find Fuck My Work Life on all major podcast platforms. If you like our podcast, please consider giving us a 5-star rating on Apple, Spotify, Good Pods, or Podchaser.
If you'd like to become a patron, check out our Patreon, where you can get access to all kinds of fun perks like swag, bonus content, and virtual happy hours.
And of course, please remember to support indie podcasts. They're working hard to provide amazing content for you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Until next week. Bye, fuckers.
I realize that Amir Khan is Indian, but Robert Downey Jr. is not the person who gets to decide who the Indian Tom Hanks is.
Very true. Very true.